Good morning.
I'm doing all right. Better than what I was.
Can y'all hear me? Good morning, everyone. Welcome to AA. Today is April 25th, 2023, and we are starting on the big book today with Bill's story. Okay, good. So first off, thank you, Roy and Becky, for the raid. Welcome everyone. I'm glad you're all here. Um, my friend is in need of some prayers and good vibes. Um, Yesterday was a very hard day, so please keep her in your prayers. And I appreciate you all for being so kind and caring and being here for an AA meeting. So, usually I will start off saying no bullying, no rude comments, no judgmenting anyone in here. Um, Please be kind to each other. If you can't say anything nice, don't say it or just simply don't be here. Like I said, this is a meeting. It's not a place for being rude, saying mean things, being a bully. Um, so if you're not here for the meeting or not going to be nice, there's no reason for you to be here. Um, I do put in the description what book we were reading, what book we are reading, and the page number. And Saturday we finished off the 12 steps and 12 traditions. So today we start on the big book. So this is Alcoholics Anonymous, and we start. This is the fourth edition. So if you have a different edition, we might have different pages. So that is why I always say what story we are on. And we are starting at Bill's story because he is the first one that has put his story out there for everyone to read and everyone to know that you're not alone. We're all in this together and we can do it. We just have to remind ourselves we are strong, even on those very, very hard days. We are strong and we can make it. So I'm going to start with Serenity Prayer and then we will start reading Bill's story. Oh, wait, I forgot a part. I'll read the steps as well. Okay. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Today I am drinking coffee and water, and I am very tired because we had some really rude people over in apartments behind us blasting their music at 2:30 this morning, and I've been awake ever since. So I'm praying for them because that's what I'm supposed to do. It helps me to not keep going on the bad and rotten thoughts. Okay, remove the glasses from my eyeballs so I can see to read. One, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. Two, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, we're entirely to have God remove all these defective characters. 7, humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10, continued to take personal inventory and when wrong, promptly admit it. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. So we are on Bill's story. It's chapter 1, page 1. War fever ran high in a New England town to which we knew young officers for Plattsburgh were assigned, and we were flattered when the first citizens took us to their homes, making us feel heroic. Here was love, applause, war moments sublime, with intervals hilarious. I was part of life at last, and in the midst of the excitement I discovered liquor. I forgot the strong warnings and the prejudice of my people concerning drink. In time we sailed for over there. I was very lonely and again turned to alcohol. We landed in England. I visited Winchester
Cathedral.
Cathedral. Much moved, I wandered outside. My attention was caught by a doggerel on an old tombstone. Here lies a Hampshire grenadier who caught his death, drinking cold small beer. A good soldier is near, near
Never.
forgot, whether he dieth but by musket or by pot. Ominous warning which I failed to heed. 22 and a veteran of foreign wars, I went home at last. I fancied myself a leader, for had not the men of my battery given me a special token of appreciation, my talent for leadership, I imagined, would place me at the head of vast enterprises which I would manage with the utmost assurance. I took a night law course and obtained employment as investigator for a surety company. The drive for success was on. I proved to the world I was important. My work took me out about Wall Street, and little by little I became interested in the market. Many people lost money, but some became very rich. Why not I? I studied economics and business and well as law. Potential alcoholic. that I was. I nearly failed my law course. At one of the finals, I was too drunk to think or write. Though my drinking was not yet continuous, it disturbed my life. We had long talks when I would still hear forebodings by telling her that men of genius conceived their best project when drunk, that the most majestic construction of philosophic thought were so divine. By the time I had completed the course, I knew the law was not for me. The vital, the inviting maelstrom of Wall Street had me in its grips. Business and financial leaders were my heroes. Out of this alloy of drink and speculation, I commenced to forge the weapon that one day would turn in its flight like a boomerang and all but cut me to ribbons. Living modestly, my wife and I saved $1,000. It went into certain securities, then cheap and rather unpopular. I rightly imagined that they would some day have a great rise. I failed to persuade my broker friends to send me out looking over factories and managements, but my wife and I decided to go anyway. I had developed a theory that most people lost money in stocks through ignorance of, of markets. I discovered many more reasons later on.
We gave we gave up our positions and off we roared on a motorcycle. The sidecar stuffed with tent, blanket, a change of clothes, and 3 huge volumes of a financial reference service. Our friends thought it a lunacy commission should be appointed. Perhaps they were right. I had had some success at speculation. So we had a little money, but we once worked on a farm for a month to avoid drawing on our small capital. That was the last honest manual labor on my part for many a day. We covered the whole eastern United States in a year. At the end of it, my reports to Wall Street procured me a position there and the use of a large expense account. The exercise of an option brought the exercise of the an option brought in more money, leaving us with a profit of several $1,000s for the year. For the next few years, fortune threw money and applause my way. I had arrived. My judgment and ideas were followed by many to the tune of paper millions. The great boom of the late 20s was seething and swelling. Drink was taking an important and exhilarating part in my life. There was loud talk in the jazz places uptown. Everyone spent in thousands and chattered in millions. Scoffers and scoff and be damned. I made a host of fair weathered friends. My drinking assumed more serious proportions, continuing all day and almost all night, every night. The the remonstrance of my friends terminated in a row, and I became a lone wolf. There were many unhappy scenes. I indefinitely. For loyalty to my wife, helped at times by extreme drunkenness, kept me out of those scrapes. In 1929, I contracted Gulf fever. We went at once to the country, my wife to applaud, while I started out to overtake Walter Hagen. Liquor caught up with me much faster than I came up behind Walter. I began to be jittery in the morning. Golf permitted drinking every day and every night. It was fun to carom around the exclusive course which had inspired such awe in me as a lad. I acquired the impeccable coat of tanned one, seized upon the well-to-do. The local banker watched me whirl fat checks in and out of his till with abused skepticism.
Abruptly, in October 1929, hell broke loose on the New York Stock Exchange. After one of those days of inferno, I wobbled from a hotel bar to a brokerage office. It was 8 o'clock, 5 hours after the market closed. The ticker still clattered. I was staring at an inch of the tape which bore description XYZ32. It had been 52 that morning. I was finished, and so were many friends. The papers reported men jumping to death from the tower of high finance. That disgusted me. I would not jump. I went back to the bar. My friends had dropped several million since 10 o'clock, so what? Tomorrow was another day. As I drank, the old fierce determination to win came back. Next morning, I telephoned a friend in Montreal. He had plenty of money left and thought I had better go to Canada. By the following spring, we were living in our accustomed style. I felt like Napoleon returning from Elba, no, St. Helena for me. But drinking caught up with me again, and my generous friend had to let me go. This time we stayed broke. We went to live with my wife's parents. I found a job, then lost it as the result of a brawl with a taxi driver. Mercifully, no one could guess that I was to have no real employment for 5 years, or hardly draw a sober breath. My wife began to work in a department store, coming home exhausted to find me drunk. I become an unwelcome hanger over hanger on at brokerage places. Liquor seized by luxury, it became a necessity. Bathtub gin, 2 bottles a day, and often three, got to be routine. Sometimes a small deal would net a few $100s, and I would pay my bills at the bars and delicatessens.
I don't know, I lost my
This
spot.
went, this went on endlessly, and I began to tremble, full of gin, following by half a dozen bottles of beer would be required if I were to eat any breakfast. Nevertheless, I still thought I could control the situation and there were periods of sobriety which renewed my wife's hope. Gradually, things got worse. The house was taken over by the mortgage holder. My mother-in-law died. My wife and father-in-law became ill. Then I got a promising business opportunity. Stocks were at the low point of 1932, and I had somehow formed a group to buy. I was to share generously in the profits. Then I went on a prognosis bender, and the change chance vanished. I woke up. This had to be stopped. I saw I could not take so much as one drink. I was through forever. Before then, I had written lots of sweet promises, but my wife happily observed that this time I meant business, and so I did. Er, Shortly afterward, I came home drunk. There had been no fight. Where had where had been my high resolve? I simply didn't know. It hadn't even come to mind. Someone had pushed a drink my way and I had taken it. Was I crazy? I began to wonder. For such an appalling lack of preservative protectiveness, whatever that word is.
What
Sorry,
page are you on?
I'm on page 5.
Okay, what about where?
The bottom.
I woke up, this had to be stopped.
No, the next paragraph. Down at the bottom. Pre perspective. Perspective. Seemed
Perspective.
near, yeah, being just that. Renewing my resolve, I tried again. Some time passed, and confidence began to be replaced by cocksureness. I could laugh at the gin mills. Now I had what it takes. One day I walked into a cafe to telephone. In no time I was beating on the bar, asking myself how it happened. As the whiskey rose to my head, I told myself I would manage better next time, but I might as well get good and drunk then. And I did.
The
I think this,
remorse, horror, and hopelessness of the next morning are unforgettable. The courage to do battle was not there. My brain raced uncontrollably, and there was a terrible sense of impending calamity. I hardly dared across the street lest I collapse and be run down by an early morning truck, for it was scarcely daylight. An all night place supplied me with a dozen glasses of ale. My writhing nerves were stilled at last. A morning paper told me the market had gone to hell, and again. Well, so had I. The market would recover, but I wouldn't. That was a hard thought. Should I kill myself? No, not now. Then a mental fog settled down. Gin would fix that. So 2 bottles and oblivion. The mind and body are marvelous mechanisms, for mine endured this agony 2 more years. Sometimes I stole from my wife's slender purse when the morning terror and madness were on me. Again, I swayed dizzily before an open window or the medicine cabinet where was poison, cursing myself for a weakling. There were flights from city to country and back as my wife and I sought escape. Then came the night when the physical and mental torture was so hellish I feared I would burst through my window, sash and all. Somehow I managed to drag my mattress to a lower floor, lest I suddenly leap. A doctor came with a heavy sedative. Next day found me drunk, drinking both gin and sedative. This combination soon landed me on the rocks. People feared for my sanity. So did I. I could eat little or nothing when drinking, and I was 40 pounds underweight. My brother in law is a physician, and through his kindness and that of my mother, I was placed in a nationally known hospital for the mental and physical rehabilitation of alcoholics. Under the so-called belladonna treatment, my brain cleared. Hypnotherapy and mild exercise helped much. Best of all, I met a kind doctor who explained that though certainly selfish and foolish, I had been seriously ill, bodily and mentally. It relieved me somewhat to learn that in alcoholics, the will is amazingly weakened when it comes to combating liquor, though it often remains strong in other respects. My incredible behavior in the face of a desperate desire to stop was explained. Understanding myself, I feared forth in high hope. For 3 or 4 months, the goose hung high. I went to town regularly and even made a little money. Surely this was the answer, self knowledge. But it was not, for the frightful day came when I drank once more. The craving, the curve of my declining moral and body health fell off like a sky jump. After a time, I returned to the hospital. This was the finish, the curtain, it seemed to me. My weary and desperate wife was informed that it would all end with heart failure during delirium tremens, or I would develop a wet brain, perhaps within a year. She would soon have to give me over to the undertaker or the asylum.
That's all right. We can stop there.
Okay.
This one's really, really long. So, anyway, so Bill's story kind of, I think we can all relate to that. Like, I knew I could end up being an alcoholic because of my birth father. So I had fought it growing up.
Put your ear thing a little closer so we can hear you a little better.
How's that?
That's better.
Okay. So for me, I did end up going to the hospital because I was drunk. I don't know how long I had been drunk, but I was drunk. And I fell and busted my eye open. And the alcohol that I had in me took over everything. And I was like a total irrational, crazy person in the ER that had code red called on me 3 times. I didn't want to go to the hospital to begin with because I thought I was fine. But this scar right here on this eyeball is a 8 continuous stitch, meaning they just did it all at once. They didn't tie anything off until they were done. And to me, when I was put in that room because I ran out once, it was me, my husband, my youngest son, and another lady. I don't know who this lady was, so I just called her the lady in the red sweater. I tell you, for that year, I never forgot that. That person had held my hand while I was scared to death because they were sticking me in a tube to scan my head. I didn't think anything about, head injuries or anything like that because I was too drunk, didn't give a crap, and I just wanted to leave the hospital. So, and I don't even remember saying my sister did it, but apparently I did. I was always fighting with whoever, mainly my sister, um, because when we were drinking together, and then we were fighting because someone else was going to take the last drink. And we didn't want that to happen. We did not want to be the left out one. So,
The funny
uh,
part of it is, as I was like 5 miles from your house.
yeah. But so that happened. There was other times that I did stupid stuff, like I hit my head on a brick wall, not on purpose. I was trying to pick up a frog that my eyeballs were alcohol goggles on, and I hit my head on a brick wall trying to pick up a frog that I put in the sink in the men's bathroom with the water running because the frog was dry. I don't know why. But yeah, there's a whole lot of stories that I haven't even shared in my home group or any other group. So y'all are hearing these things from me that they don't really know. Um, that's part of why I'm doing the AA meetings here is because I too have that problem. I too went through probably something that you have gone through, and I have dealt with sticky situations like everybody else. I am a human. I'm a recovering alcoholic. I'm glad to be sober. I'm glad a friend of mine called me and said, "Hey, you want to meet me at AA?" I hadn't seen this person since I was about 17 or 18 years old. He is older than me by probably about 10 years, maybe. But I did not know that he had the same problem. And so when he said that, I was like, I trust this person. So I was like, all right, I'll go and see what it's about. So I did. I went. And guess what? When I left, I was already thinking, when is the next one? And I had been sober for quite a while by myself. And I did that by getting away from everyone, my whole family except for my son and my husband, my youngest son, because the oldest son didn't want to go. But we took off and we're on the road and on the go and off grid for quite a while. Um, anyway, so I uh, I got sober November 15th, 2014. So I got sober, and then like 4 to 6 months later, I went to AA. And how I found my first sponsor is when you go to AA, they give you a list of the sex of people that you, if you're female, you get female numbers. If you're male, you get male numbers, whatever.
If they don't give you a list, you can always ask for one. They will give you one.
Yeah. Um, so I called a few people on that list, the females on that list, and so the first person that answered her phone became my sponsor. She has been my sponsor since then. I do have another sponsor. Um, she was a coworker of mine. She's an older lady, and she is another one of my best friends. She knows me so well that if I say hello in a different manner, she knows that there's something wrong. So
If you say boo wrong, she knows something's wrong.
yeah, she does. So, but so it's always good to have a plan. Like if you feel you need to go to a meeting, go to a meeting. If you need to call somebody, call somebody. If you need someone to listen, anybody will listen, you know. And sometimes it doesn't even matter if it's a stranger. I had sat down at a city hall in the little town I grew up in, and I was holding the big book, and a guy walked up to me. He had a brown paper sack. Y'all know what that means, right? It surely ain't a water. And he sat down next to me. And he goes, "Do you mind if I drink this?" I was like, "No, why would I?" He's like, "Well, because you go into AA." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Step 11 is really, really hard." I said, "I'm stuck on step 4 because I had already done the other 3. But, um, so yeah, I started working my steps the day after I started AA. And when I got there, they gave me a book. My sponsor gave me 2 books. I have given 3 books away, 3 or 4 books away. I've given away at least 1 big book and 2 of the Steps and Traditions books. And that's the way that I found, instead of nagging like I did my sister for a long time until I read a part in the big book saying that don't harp on them, don't nag them, just give it a suggestion and let them know that what it's doing for you. And so I finally did that to my sister. I was like, I'm done asking. And that's when she decided to come. I was so very,
I
very
went
happy.
home. Then I went home, finished off beer, all but 3. Felt like crap. When I woke up the next morning, still felt like crap. And I looked in the fridge and I said, I totally could drink those right now. And I said, nah, not gonna. Shut the door. Well, I went after, and that was July 19th, 2015. And I had started going to AA thinking, okay, I'm going to set myself up for a year and then I'll drink. And then it came to a year and I'm like, nah. So I set myself up for 3 years. Nah. I'm at 8 years sober, people. Almost 8 years sober. And if doing the work, you have to work it. You got to read the book. You got to reach out to people. You got to do your steps. If you truly have a problem with alcohol, your first step is admitting you're powerless over alcohol. That is the hardest step. Believe me, the hardest step.
Yep.
Other than that, I have found it all, you got to do it every single day. I am a recovering alcoholic. I say my serenity prayer. I follow the book as the best of my ability. And if I screw up, like my public apology on YouTube, making amends, that was me making amends to people who I may have said something or done something on a live panel or in chat. That was sincere. That's not a joke. That is who I am.
Yep.
I don't care about my feelings. If I feel like I did something wrong, I need to say I did something wrong.
Yeah. Thank you for being here, my friend. I love you, and hopefully I can start seeing you on Thursdays. That would be so awesome.
And sorry that the chat is uploaded. If you guys didn't want your names in the chat, sorry. She doesn't know how to turn it off. But it is what it is, and I'm proud to be a recovering alcoholic. And if you are chatting in here, I hope you are too.
Yeah. Sobriety is the best thing, you guys. I mean, I have gotten to witness so many amazing things. I have a goddaughter who is amazing, and I have gotten to watch her grow with sober eyes. I've gotten to see my boys graduate with sober eyes. No beer goggles, no alcohol goggles on at all. And I always remind myself one day at a time, because if I get too far ahead of myself, I already know I could end up back on it. And guess what? I've already gone back once, and I don't want to do it again, because I know for a fact that it just does not go slowly. You just end up back at the bottom of the bottle, and that's something that I don't want. I'm not willing to throw away my sobriety of 8 years and 5 months to go back to the bottom. I don't want to be at the rock bottom. It's not worth it. Climb out. Life being sober is so much better and so worth every struggle of every single day. Because y'all, I have to admit, I work my steps every day. And when I'm wrong, you know what? I do make my amends. And I wish other people would realize, that it's not their will.
Let be and let God.
Yep.
Or your higher power, whatever that is.
Yep. Exactly.
It's not your will. It is someone else's or something else's. Bigger than you. Sorry. Hi, Lucky James.
Thank you, my friend. No worries. I'm proud to be here as well. I feel very fortunate to have met Sandra and been invited here.
Thank you, Sharon.
I'm glad I met you too. You mean a lot to me, and I feel bad because I left you in the dust at that place. But I know you're strong and you've got this.
You got us. Everybody here's got us. And anybody watching has us.
Yeah. You can call me anytime you need to as well, Shannon. Thank you, Cruising Scene. This is something that I am so passionate about.
I found out that they even have AA meetings on cruise ships
Yes.
just by going into those communities and asking the questions.
Yep.
Do they have this? And they're like, yes, they do. It's called Bill's Story, or it's called this, or it's called that. You know, it's fantastic. It's everywhere.
Yeah, we are in this ship together for sure. Um, so she does bracelets. I found out she's making me a bracelet, and I can't wait to
Awesome.
get it. Um, but AA is my life. The steps is my life. It is my daily routine. No matter what, even if I get upset with somebody on the road, I say prayers because, Lord, some of them really make me mad. You know,
Some of them really drive like morons, but
and then when things don't go your way, don't get mad. Find laughter in it because nothing is perfect. Life can't be perfect. You have to laugh at it sometimes.
I
It's
have a new
always better to smile.
I have a new saying. Stay calm and move along.
Yep.
That's all you can do is stay calm and keep moving forward. You can't go backwards.
No, you can't rewrite the past.
Nope.
You can't even really write the future.
Nope. You got
So
today.
you got today. And if you're just now getting sober, we're with you on it. I'll never forget that day. But here's a surprise. Nobody knows this except for Lillian. I waited until I was 7 years sober to get my 24-hour coin. 7 years I waited for a 24-hour coin. And I have a coin for every single step of that way. So I waited. I didn't know I could get it actually. And then I was like, oh, so you're giving somebody that's been sober for 10 years a 24-hour coin? Okay. I was like, I never got one. So I got a 24-hour coin finally. Um, but I got a 3 month, a 6 month, a 9 month,
18 months.
1 year, 18 months, and then multiples. And I'm staying at multiples, y'all. I got 8, and I'm looking forward to 9.
Woohoo.
And anybody, usually what I do with my coins, because I usually end up with 2 coins. So my sponsor gives me a coin, and my sister usually gives me a coin. So what I do with one of them is I give it to one of my sponsees. So I do give coins to my sponsees, and all of those coins mean something to me because of how I got them, the work that I did to get them, and the reason I'm giving it away.
I get
Um,
some of them because she is my sponsor.
yeah,
Even though a lot of places don't recommend it, but
yeah.
my sister is my sponsor because I can call her and I can tell her anything I want to. I can call her at 3 o'clock in the morning and wake her up and say, hey, I'm having a bad time.
And you're not going to be judged calling me.
Nope.
Um, so if you want a book, if you want any of the books or magazines or anything like that, I think you can get the magazines. Just check your Google. Um, for your books, if you want to buy books, You can get them from Amazon. I'm not sponsored or affiliated by them. I used to
Or
work
with
there.
AA.
I'm
You're
not,
not an AA representative. You're
no.
just doing your own thing.
And then if you can't do those, find a local AA meeting, because you're always welcome, whether it's your birthday, your 50th day, your 100th day, it doesn't matter. Go in and ask about getting a book. Because I know when you go to your meetings, they have book meetings. And so they have books that they can put out on tables and whatever. And there's possibilities that you may be able to get one for free or buy one. I know for me, I think no, I haven't bought one, but I have given books away. I think I've given two big books actually, and like three of the set books. But that's what I do. Is that's the way doing the meetings here and giving books is what you know I am able to do. But the two books I have is all I have for right now. So
Well,
yep.
I'm gonna drop down.
All right, and we're gonna end the meeting with our serenity prayer, and I hope you all have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. Don't forget, you are loved. You're welcome here with no judgment. Um, whether it's your birthday or whatever day, because it's one day at a time,
And
and that's
one
what,
step at a time.
and this is what it's about: being sober, loving life, living life, and laughing in life. So I love you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful day. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Keep coming back. It works
It
if
works
you
if
work
you
it.
have a blessed day, everyone.
Love you all. Be safe out there. Be kind. Don't forget, you're not alone. And please like, comment, and subscribe and share out if you'd like. Um, I love you guys. Have a great day.